In my search for love, as only an adolescent can be, I sat on a beach on the coast of South Africa as my youth minister tried to tell me that I would know when I found it. In my knower. Everything would fit, he said. Even your bodies. Don't worry, he said with a smile. The heart knows what it wants. I held on to those words even though I didn't really understand them for a full 10 years. Unfortunately, at the time of having this conversation, I was already set on a well-trodden path of going after women who were just like my mother. The first of these was Charlene Rylander. 11 years old, and I'd come to a new school, and on the first day there, this picture-book pretty blonde came bounding up to me and said, "I know you," much to my delight. The next day, she produced a picture, a group photo from a camp in which she had sat next to me. She said, "I told you I knew you." She gave me a kiss on the cheek, and that was it. I'd never even noticed girls before then, and I was besotted. Unfortunately, Charlene was as mean as she was pretty. And for the next 2 years, she just tormented me until she left the country. What she also left, though, was an image of the perfect woman that I would chase for the next 20 years. Bruised blondes, I like to call them. So, it makes sense that the next unavailable blonde in line was there for me to chase after, and her name was Nicola Houston. She was a wild one, sexy in ways that my young body and mind just didn't know what to do with. And she was pretty much a carbon copy of Charlene. Mean, bitter, tormenting. It took me 4 years to figure that one out. But thankfully, the heart knows what it wants. And like a sat-nav, when you go off course, it recalculates new directions to get you where you need to go. I think that's why I met Eve. I only remember her first name. Funny that Eve being the archetype of the kind of woman I really should have been with. And all I remember about her was that she was so easygoing, so much fun. And I was so comfortable in her company that I forgot to even ask her out. And by the time I figured that one out, my family moved all the way down to Cape Town. Reeling from this move which had taken me away from her, taken me away from my friends, I was lost enough to fall into the arms of the next evil archetype. Okay, she wasn't all that evil. Sarah Watt was just focused. She knew exactly what she wanted, and she was determined to make me it. I was a terrible student, though. I was clueless and all over the place, and basically all I did for the next 3 years was frustrate her. Until I decided to go traveling to get away from it all, and as soon as I left the country, she found a replacement who fit right into her neat little box. And you know what? I was relieved. I got back to South Africa, though, to find nothing there for me. And so I booked a ticket to come out to the UK, and 2 weeks before I left, I met my next-door neighbour. Another redirection by my sat-nav heart, another brunette, just like Eve before her. And she was feisty and creative, always writing poetry and making things, and so easygoing too, and such a breath of fresh air after Sarah. We just had time for one kiss, and then I left her for the UK, lost again, set on another course for disaster. That disaster went by the name of Nora Nahulivan. Names are being changed to protect the innocent. Yeah. She was like all those bruised blondes rolled into one big bruise. And so naturally, she was the kind of woman I would chase after, and naturally the kind of woman I married. And I saw her bitterness as honesty. I saw her pain and her anger as depth. And I saw her, as I did my mother in all these things, as my special friend. Over the next 5 years, I was to find that we just did not fit. It's not all doom and gloom, though, because Nora introduced me to the man who was to become my best friend, Lee Billington. And And over Lee's address, over his family home, on my sat-nav heart, there was a great, big, blinking neon X. Lee, you see, had a sister. Jem was her name, my diamond in the rough. And over those difficult, awkward, painful years with Nora, I would see Jem from time to time, only fleetingly though, but in those precious moments in which our attraction was so obvious, we would talk and we would say a few words here and there, but both of us were with equally messed up people. Thankfully though, after 5 years of being with these people and putting up with their anger and their selfishness, we both broke away from them. And in doing so, we sort of worked out what we didn't want in a partner. And somewhere along the line, we worked out what we did. I'd gone off to South Africa again to figure out why I was with Nora, and in the same introspection, started to see my mother for who she really was, and started to realize why I'd gone after these bruised blondes time and again. And I knew the spell had been broken. I knew also that there was only those few glimpses of time where I'd been happy. Those were the times when I stepped away from the well-trodden path, when I moved away from that image of the perfect woman and ended up being with people with whom it just worked. And that brought one person to mind with aching clarity. I flew back to the UK just to spend some time with Jem, to see if there was more to this attraction. And on the first day we spent together, I knew, in my knower, she was what all those lively brunettes had been before her: more creative, feisty, fun, spiritual, kind, sexy. And as we walked together that day, I put my hand in hers, and you know what? It fit.